Hi Aquarius, welcome to your end of April 2018 tarot update. It's Raina. Shuffling the cards. This is the Druid Craft deck that I'm using this time. You've never seen these cards before unless you own them yourself, I guess. And there, a couple of people have made comments so far that they own them, so I guess some people do have. Well, looky here. That's nice. Some people have these decks, so. Wow. I think that was the first time I picked the Sun, I think, of that deck. It's always fun to pick cards for the first time of whatever you're doing from a new deck, because it's like, wow, look at that. It's like a new discovery. Wow, you got some amazing cards, Aquarius, if I do say so myself. Okay, let me collect these ones that have gotten all, just put them in a little pile here to the side. And there's a lot of fiery energy. So your opposite sign is Leo. So I do have as the focal point the Sun card, and the Sun rules Leo, so could definitely be a Leo. The other fire signs are Sag and Aries, but this is definitely associated with Leo, rules Leo. But the Sun card, take your pick. It's everything positive. It's, well, the first thing you can see, it's a child, right? So children do fit in with this particular card. But you know, it's funny because it's literal children, but it's also having the spirit of a child, feeling that sense of joy that isn't attached to some kind of material situation, okay? You know, sometimes people are happy and it's conditional, right? Because it's coming as the result of X, Y, or Z, but is that really true happiness, and is it going to last? So it also deals with love, healing, success. That's one of the reasons why it's one of the most positive cards. I don't know if it deals with, I think it deals with prosperity too, but success in all areas. So basically an all-around great card to get. Do we have any astrological reasons for this? Well, yeah. Here's one for you. Yeah, that's a ticket. Actually, the fifth house is connected. The Sun rules the fifth house. And you're going to see planets go into that fifth house when planets go into Gemini, because that's your fifth house. And of course, this is just a general thing where it depends on your sun or rising sign. When, you know, when a house actually begins and what, I mean, you might have two signs in one house, so, but anyway, so you could have three signs in one house actually, if your house is big enough. But anyway, the Sun, the fifth house represents all of the things that I just said, okay? But especially love, creativity. I think that's something I forgot to mention. And children are a form of creativity. We create children, or co-create them. And, but creativity, love, you know, falling in love, healing, and things like that. So when the Sun, when planets go into Gemini, that's going to trigger that as well. That may be more May time, but I think Venus might enter Gemini at some point. I don't have my information in front of me, but I'm just saying that don't look at this. This is supposed to be the end of April, but you know, we're just keeping it loosey-goosey here. Now, that's kind of like what's happening. So you may be on a good phase, maybe still coming off of that solar eclipse back in in mid-February. And that would have been about 2.5 months ago, and that could still be in play as well. Lots of opportunities and things like that. Well, crosses you as the Three of Wands. Now, what this can mean, because this is a card of expansion, so there may be 2 fire signs in the picture, and one of them may be, I always think of the Three of Wands. I could see somebody being a Sagittarius. Maybe you're choosing between a Leo and a Sagittarius, because we do have some other fire here, 10 of Wands too. But, and Page of Wands, which is Princess of Wands in this deck. But anyway, the Three of Wands is about having your own business. Maybe it's one of these situations where you are successful in your profession, but you're still kind of like, you're kind of feeling like you want to do your own thing. Maybe you work for somebody else, and there's still a part of you that wants to be doing your own kind of a job. Okay, so that's the one thing that could come to my mind, because Three of Wands is an entrepreneurial energy. It also can deal with something with maybe even expansion to other countries, travel, and things like that. Maybe that you have, maybe the sun is you have your own business and you'd like to expand, but for some reason you can't. Maybe there's a child involved and you have to stay close to home. Who knows? Let's talk about what is the root cause, or at least some of the cause. Four of Swords. Well, this could be like the fact that you may be in kind of like a thoughtful period right now, possibly thinking of, maybe you're thinking of changing course. But see, the thing about it is that with the Sun card, there is a sense of success. So it's not like you're mulling things over because you've been experiencing defeat. It's more like, how can I even think about leaving this when I'm doing so well? Am I crazy or what? And yet, with the Three of Wands in the challenge position, it's like you feel like a sense of maybe being blocked, like you can't do something that you want to do. And it could be quite frustrating for you. That's just one possibility. Another possibility is that you did heal and you did take time for yourself, and now you're in love with someone. But there may be, it could be like with the Three of Wands in that challenging position, that the essence of what the Three of Wands represents may be working against you. A lot of Aquarians are extremely independent, and so getting involved in a relationship can be fraught with peril, because even if you really feel a connection with somebody, I think it's hard for a lot of Aquarians to ever get rid of this fear that the other person is going to kind of dominate their lives, and that they're going to lose their sense of self, that they're going to become this gelatinous glob of nothingness, where they don't stand out, where they don't have their own, have their own individuality. And that's something that is super important for a lot of Aquarians, is to always maintain that independence and that sense of self. And, the unique qualities that make you who you are. And it almost feels like you're giving into the world by having the, conventional relationship where it's like you have to answer to someone and you have to do all those things. You may be very leery of that. But then the thing is, you may feel this very strong pull to that person. So that might be what some of you are grappling with. The spiritual message is represented by the Princess of Wands, the Page of Wands, and this is a card about having that enthusiasm at the start of something, and that could also include love. And so one thing that I always think about is sometimes people are complaining about their relationship and they say all these things that the person's doing that sound terrible, that I agree are terrible. But I always say, what happened at the beginning of the relationship? Or I say, watch out at the beginning of the relationship and see what is occurring, because then you can bypass a lot of that. A lot of people ignore this stuff that comes about at the very beginning, and then they're in too deep, so to speak. And not that you ever really are. You can always change, but I'm just saying it becomes more complicated once you've invested time in something. So the Page of Wands is a card about enthusiastic beginnings. And so when you feel good about something or someone, then it's like your emotions are guiding you to let you know that you're in the right place. If you're feeling indifferent, if you're feeling apprehensive or insulted, disrespected, misunderstood early on, then that likewise can tell you what it is that is the relationship, how it's going to continue. I don't know why somebody thinks that if the person that they're with is being really disrespectful at the beginning of the relationship, that it's going to change or get better. So if anything, it'll get worse as time goes on. So that's one thing, but also this is about communication. It could be talking about you having this enthusiastic conversations with someone. It doesn't have to be romantic at all, because with the Sun card and with the Three of Wands, you may be negotiating with people, and there's a sense of passion that you may convey to others that's infectious and gets them to go on, get on board with you. What you have to perhaps fight against with the Three of Wands is restlessness, and maybe wanting to do it too soon. Maybe you're jumping the gun. I don't know. And if you have ideas, because I could see with Wands there's a lot of impatience. And, enthusiasm breeds impatience, because people are just, chomping at the bit. So, and sometimes impatience is coming from a good place. It's not coming from a negative place. So that's another aspect of this reading, is that there's a lot of excitement being generated for whatever reason. I didn't even see that this card. Okay, the Prince of Wands is the Knight of Wands. And this is the advice. And this is about going, charging ahead, having confidence. This can be a card that's a little bit chaotic, because I think it's like a double fire type of an energy. So it can be somebody who is rash, and you don't want to be. So even as advice, it could tell you how not to be. But definitely follow your bliss, follow your passion at this time, because it sounds like some of you have a lot to be happy about. And, for instance, if the Sun card is about you wanting a child, and maybe you're afraid that it's going to kind of like impede your freedom, then it's basically saying that you have to just, do it. It's like feel the fear and do it anyway. That was the name of a book that came out about 30 years ago. Okay. And obviously that's for the people that really want a child, not just anybody. But sometimes we have to, do things even if we feel a sense of apprehension, because we know that there's something inside of us that just wants to do it. And we're holding ourselves back. But, you know, it doesn't even have to be a physical child. It could be birthing a creative project that you have wanted to do for a very long time, and you've kept putting it off and coming up with excuses, and then maybe now is the time to dive right in. And actually, with this card, with the Four of Swords, you may be in a situation where you have the opportunity to do it. Maybe you're on maternity leave and you have an opportunity to really indulge in a writing project, or I said writing, I didn't mean that, I meant anything creative. It could be any kind of a project, but or any kind of, maybe you wanted to start your own business and you have some kind of time off represented by the Four of Swords. Maybe you're on medical leave, or just have some kind of, maybe you were laid off and you have that time, but you have the money to support doing something creative. And so it's saying to go for it. What's coming in is represented by the Star card, and this is about having faith that you're on the right path, maybe even having a sense of, what would you call it? Knowing that your spirit guides are leading you, or that your loved one is, you have a loved one perhaps that is, I don't know, guiding you, inspiring you, supporting you. Maybe you're getting in touch with the spiritual dimension in some way. Also, the Star card is a card of like regaining hope. Maybe you've been through a lot. With the Four of Swords, some of you may have been recuperating from either some kind of a medical condition, because the Sun and the Four of Swords and the Star card could all point to healing, resting, and things like that. So maybe you feel like you're getting better. I mean, maybe this is about a health matter and you feel like you're starting to be yourself again, and that the Knight of Wands is you really getting your energy back. But with the Star card, it's also emphasizing healing. This is your card, Aquarius. So, I mean, it's possible that there's another Aquarian that fits into this scenario for you. And then the outcome is the Ten of Wands, which is such an, it's a card of working very hard, okay? So there's success, but you're having to work overtime, and it can be, I feel like with the Ten of Wands, you have to be careful, especially if you have been in a situation where you had to take time off because you were burnt out. This could be, you know, representing doing a lot of work, and that could lead to the same condition. So you have to learn how to pace yourself. But it could be that you're really burning the midnight oil with some kind of work project. But I feel like there's enthusiasm for what you're doing, and, you know, passion. It's, you're not going through the motions, whatever it is. And with the Star and the Sun card as the major arcana cards, two of the most positive cards, I think that you're on the right track, Aquarius. So I hope that you enjoyed this. If you'd like a private reading, the link is below. Have a great rest of April. Bye.